and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I'm going to be answering all of your questions all about my tonsil operation when I had a tonsillectomy, which is the correct term, which is basically where I had my tonsils removed, so I no longer have tonsils in my throat. If you don't know what tonsils are, it's the two, well, I was going to say it's the two big things in the back of your throat, but not everybody has two big things because tonsils decrease in size as you get older. However, mine did not, which is part of the reason why I got them removed, but we will get onto that a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, they're just two lumps in the back of your throat. Most people won't even see them and it doesn't like bother them, doesn't faze them, don't get problems with them, but then there's people like me who get a lot of problems with them. So yeah, if you are new here, then make sure you do subscribe. I obviously do different videos, not just videos about tonsillectomies. And if you do enjoy the video, as always, please remember to give it a huge thumbs up. And without further ado, let's just get on to answering the questions. So I'm going to try and answer questions in like the way in which it all happens. So first question is obviously, why did I get my tonsils removed? Like, why did I choose to have the operation? Blah, 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 blah. Now, if you've been a follower of mine for a while, you will know how much I suffered with tonsillitis. I used to get tonsillitis at least once a month. In the earlier days, it wasn't as bad. I think I first got tonsillitis in like year 9 maybe, and yeah, so I had tonsillitis. I went to the doctors and I got medication. Now I'm actually allergic to penicillin, which is actually the medicine that they do give you when you have tonsillitis, which is the banana medicine, if you guys know it by that term. And obviously I was allergic to that, so they gave me an alternative option. I was taking that, first few days fine, and then all of a sudden my eyes just swelled up. So turns out I was allergic to all the medication for tonsillitis. So obviously with this being my first time having tonsillitis and finding out that I'm allergic to all the medication, from then I was just like, great, can't wait to get this again. And now obviously because I was allergic to the medication, I was like, there's literally no point in me going to the doctors. I went to the doctors a few times, don't get me wrong, but each time they would just literally send me away because they can't give me anything. So I stopped going to the doctors because I was getting tonsillitis that much, and I was like, they're literally just going to send me away. And then finally I'd sort of had enough. I was like, I can't deal with this tonsillitis any longer. I was literally getting it like at least once a month, if not twice a month, and it was just the bane of my life. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the doctors, I'm gonna explain the reason why I haven't been going to the doctors, and I mean they could even see it in their notes anyway that obviously I'm allergic to both things. And I just literally explained to her, I was like, look, I get tonsillitis every single month without a doubt, and I'm sick of coming, like I can't come in because you guys don't like prescribe me anything because I'm allergic to it all. And the one thing I would always do is take pictures of my tonsils. I know it's so gross and it's not nice to look back on. Literally my phone is probably full of pictures of my tonsils, but that was my proof to show the doctors that I was literally getting it all the time, and that is why I wasn't coming in, because there was just literally no point. So yeah, so that is why I decided to have the operation. Following on from that, people have been asking, how did I get referred? How many times did I have to get tonsillitis? Blah, 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 that sort of thing. And that obviously refers back to the thing, I was allergic to all the medication, so there was literally nothing they could give me to help it heal. Like I said, I got it at least once every month for the past like 2 or 3 years, and it was literally horrible. It was like a sharp glass feeling in my mouth. I started to struggle to breathe as well because my tonsils are actually really big. Well, I'm saying my tonsils, I don't have them there anymore, they've gone. But my tonsils were really big, and like, yeah, it caused a problem anyway. Like they were just big all the time, like even swallowing foods, I couldn't like swallow like big amounts of food like probably some normal person could. But I mean, I didn't really realise that until I've obviously had them taken out now, and I can just literally throw things down my throat, and it's just amazing. And then not only that, but I also do a little bit of singing. Obviously you guys might know that I've obviously done singing on this channel. When I was in college I did a lot of singing, so it was obviously really acting up on like my vocal cords and like just my performance in general, because I was getting tonsillitis all the time and I weren't able to perform. So when I finally went to the doctors last year for the final time of me going, he literally took one look in my mouth and he went, oh yeah, we better get them out. And I was like, yeah, you think? I was like, they are so bad. Because luckily as well, I did have tonsillitis the time when I went to the doctors for the last time. Because obviously, tonsillitis can last like a varied length. So as soon as I got the tonsillitis and it was really bad, I was like, Mum, get me a doctor's appointment ASAP. I need to get in there. And again, I was taking pictures just in case it did go. But yeah, like I say, he literally took one look in my mouth and went, yeah, let's get them gone. I was like, thank you. I was like, thank you. And now I'm a big wuss when it comes to operations and needles and things like that. But I was literally like, just get them out. I was like, just get them out, just get them out. So yeah, that is how I got referred to like the actual doctor to get them removed. So the next question is, how long did it take for me to get referred? Now, I was quite lucky. I say lucky because I'm not really that lucky because of the circumstance, but I was lucky enough that my tonsils were that bad that I got like pushed to the top of the waiting list. So I think I literally waited like a month, if that, to see the specialist. And I went and saw the specialist. He was a bit bizarre, was this specialist. He was literally like, so why do you want them removed? I was like, well, because they're huge. I get tonsillitis all the time and I just can't deal with it anymore. And I was literally going through and he was like,
right, so what do you want us to do about that?
I was like, take them out. I was like, literally what you just said. Anyway, that's a different story. He was a little bit bizarre and just didn't really seem to be like with it. But he put me down on the list. I had to sign like some papers and stuff. And there was like this thing as well where it was like, if you're like available for 48-hour like cancellation slots. So that basically means if at any point someone cancels and a like spot becomes free within 48 hours, they can message you and be like, yo, do you want to come in for your operation in 2 days? And you can be like, yeah, go on then, I will. So I signed up to do that, but I didn't actually end up doing that. I got my date through the post. So my original date was supposed to be the 10th of October, I think it was, 2019. But I couldn't do that date for some reason, so then they moved it to the 1st of November. And yeah, that came around so quick, honestly, so quick. Like, time just flew. Realistically, from going to the doctors to actually have them out, it took about 3 months, but that honestly went so quick. Well, it's not even 3 months really, it's like 2 and a bit. And it went so quickly, and before I knew it, they were out. A lot of people have asked me how I felt on the run up to the operation, how like I dealt with like having my injection, because you guys know I'm scared of needles, they petrify me. But the actual run up to the operation didn't even faze me. I was like, yes, get them out. I could not wait to like just have them removed. I wasn't looking forward to the needle in my hand to be put to sleep. That was just a no-go really, but it was just one of them things, it's just gonna have to be done. 1 minute of pain is literally gonna sort me out for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna have any more tonsils, not gonna get tonsillitis ever again. So I was just weighing up the pros and cons, and there was more pros than there was cons. So yeah, like I said, the run up to it really didn't faze me, and on the day, I really thought I would be more nervous than I was. So what I actually tried to do on the run up to my operation is I didn't think about it. It was just phasing me, you know, like we've got 3 days to go, 2 days to go, oh my god, it's tomorrow. And then on that, oh my god, it's tomorrow day, that is when I let all my panic out. And I'm pretty sure I cried God knows how many times that day, because I was actually on my own as well. So yeah, I was just like crying, I was getting it all out of my system. I was like, it's gonna be fine, you're gonna smash it. It's only a needle, it's literally gonna prick you for like a minute and then you're gonna be out and you're never gonna even know about it. So I had my panic day the day before. So then it came around to the operation day, and my operation, like I had to be in the hospital for 7:30, I think it was. So my stepdad took me, dropped me off, waved me goodbye, because being an adult, you're not actually allowed someone in there with you. And then I was just trying to stay calm. I was doing deep breaths. And then the nurse came in. So once she'd like signed me in and everything and obviously made sure that I was fine, definitely wanted to do it still, which obviously I did because I was like, get them out. And then she started to do my blood pressure, which is when she turned around to me and went, are you nervous? And I went, yeah, a little bit. And like, obviously I was nervous, but I was trying to keep it in. And she was like, what are you nervous about? And I was like, I just really don't like needles. And then she was like, okay, no worries. So basically she could tell from my blood pressure that I was bricking it, but I was keeping my cool. And then she was the nicest nurse ever. I can't even remember her name because she wasn't even there with me that long, but she just made sure constantly that I was feeling good, that I like, you know, didn't feel like sick or like just too like panicky or whatever. So she just made sure that I was fine all the time, and I was. And my operation was at 9 o'clock, so I had a good an hour and a half to kill before I was going in to actually have it removed. So I feel like when you're in the hospital, this is the time where you panic the most. But like I say, she was just there, she was comforting me, making sure that I felt okay, distracting me with things, asking me about this, asking me about that. So I literally didn't really feel that nervous after like I'd said I felt nervous. So then obviously moving on to actually being put to sleep. So you actually have to walk into the operating room, which I thought was absolutely terrifying. I was like, the fact that I've literally got to walk there, lay on this rock hard bed whilst you then inject me, really did not sit well in my head, but I did it. I'm proud of myself for doing it. So I walked in and it was fine. You get greeted by like 4 people. You're like, hi. And they're like, do you just want to take your shoes off, blah, 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 whatever, and then lay on the bed. So then I was laid on the bed, and obviously the nurse had already said to the surgeon, like, she's scared of needles, you know, go steady. And I was laid on the bed and I went, I know this is really silly, but have you got any like numbing cream? So I had numbing cream on my hand. Well, it weren't a numbing cream, it was a numbing spray, so it numbed my hand so I didn't feel it. But yeah, so you've got like 4 people, you've got like 2 people that are doing your thing, you've got 1 person that's doing your blood pressure, and then you've got 1 person that was talking to me, because obviously I don't like needles. So I felt like the little spray, and then that was it, then it was in, like, and I didn't realise because I was talking. So I was quite calm about it because I think I was just too distracted, and because I was quite open about it and I wasn't like panicking on my own on like the inside of my head, I think it all went a lot smoother. So I definitely think if you ask someone who's like me and you ask any needles, just make sure you tell them, ask for some numbing cream, or you can even get like pre-meds which calm you down. Just don't struggle in pain on your own. So now moving on to after. So after the operation, they do wake you up. So everyone's like, how do they wake you up? So they basically, I think they put something in you which counteracts the drug that like puts you to sleep. So they just put that through your little cannula, which you actually have for the rest of the day, which I didn't realise. I thought they took it out like straight after the operation, but they don't. Now a lot of people ask, did I react like weirdly? Did I like wake up acting different? And I don't really remember that much of me waking up. What I do remember is I think I just woke up and I was like, am I done? And the nurse was like, yeah, you're done. And I was like, whoa, that was quick. And she was like, well, you were in there about an hour. And I was like, well, it didn't feel like it. And then she just sort of asked me how the pain was, and I was like, it hurts like a little bit. I was like, it wasn't like drastic pain. Felt like I was like dying. I was just like, it's probably about like a 6, 7. So then she gave me some morphine, and then within literally about 2 minutes she went, so how's the pain now? I went, probably about 2. I literally couldn't even feel anything then by that point. So then I got taken back into like my little ward area, and then you just get to sort of like chill. You're in there for like 6 hours, so you just kind of get to chill, catch up on some sleep, because honestly you do feel drowsy when you come out. Everybody is asking, how did I feel after the operation? So obviously when you first come out of the operation, you're a bit like, woo, like you're not really fully there because you are high on drugs. But then as I started to come around a little bit more, I didn't actually feel that much pain. My throat was sort of fine. Obviously I was still probably high on drugs, so I was like, you know, sort of fine, chilling with it. I was just like myself. I was talking normally, acting normally, I was sitting up, I was FaceTiming my mum, I was talking to the nurses. My throat was fine. However, my tongue tripled in size. I'm not even kidding. If I could get a video or like a picture of something when I had my operation, honestly, my tongue like tripled in size. The little dangly thing at the back of my throat tripled in size. But no, I think that like literally was about 10 times bigger than what it normally is. And my lips were so dry and like burnt, because in case you didn't know, what they do is they pull at the tonsils, they slice it off, and then they cauterize it, which is basically where they burn it. So on the way in, they must have caught my tongue and also my lips, because they were very burnt and just yeah, big. So that wasn't fun. I think that's what hurt the most. So then as the day went by, they like offer you some food. Now, some places you have to eat something. My hospital was quite nice. I didn't have to eat anything if I didn't want to, but I was feeling like well, I was feeling dandy. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a chicken sandwich, I'll have some jelly, I'll have this, I'll have that. Because they do advise you to eat because basically your throat scabs. It's like a wet scab. It's so gross. But yeah, so they advise you to eat, but you don't have to eat. Well, I didn't have to eat, but I was, like I said, feeling fine. So I was like, yeah, I'll have this, I'll have that, I'll have blah, blah, blah. So I started eating, but then I did actually start feeling a bit sick when I started eating. So I just stopped eating, I had some more medication, and then I went back to sleep for a bit. So before I left, I actually had some jelly, as that was pretty much really easy to eat. It literally just slid down my throat, and then yeah, I was on my way and I got back home still feeling fine. And when you leave the hospital, they give you obviously your medication that you have to take, and then they also advise you like what foods to eat. So that actually leads on to the next question, which is obviously what foods were the best to eat. I tell you now, the foods that are the worst to eat are your favourite foods, okay? Don't eat your favourite food, just don't do it to yourself, because I tell you now, you will never want to eat that food ever again. Just saying. But they advise you to eat like hard food, like crisps, cornflakes, like stuff that you can crunch so it like scrapes the scab off your throat. So gross, I know. But obviously it is quite hard, and I found that liquidy food was obviously a little bit easier to eat because it just sort of slid down, it was more watery. Obviously your throat and your mouth is really dry from the operation. But yeah, going back to my advice about not eating the foods that you like, the reason I'm saying this is nobody talks about the weird taste that you get in your mouth, but you get such a nasty taste in your mouth. I'm not kidding, it is horrible. And now obviously my mum knew I had to eat like crunchy foods, like crisps and stuff to help wash the scab down. So she brought me my favourite Pringles, which were the sour cream and onion Pringles. So when I got home, I was munching on them like, yeah, loving life. And then about 4 days later, I started spewing everything up. So now the thought of them Pringles literally makes me feel physically sick. And I can't touch them, I can't look at them, I can't even like, ugh, no. They're just a no-go now. So don't eat anything that you actually really like to eat, because chances are you might not like to eat it anymore. But carrying on, people are obviously asking how was the recovery, which was the worst part, like when did you start to feel better again. So they say to you that you have 14 days to recover, because that's how long you have to take off school and like work and things like that. But the actual full process can probably take up to a month, 2 months, depending on your immune system and just like how things sort of like recover in yourself and like what you do to like help it. So the first 4 days I was feeling absolutely fine, taking my medication as normal, not really in that much pain, sort of just felt a bit like tonsillitis, maybe a little bit worse, but bearable. It was just the taste that wasn't bearable. So yeah, everything fine. Then day 5 comes around and all of a sudden I just can't keep anything down. Everything was just coming up, constantly feeling sick, literally throwing up left, right and centre. I would eat one thing, within half an hour I'd be throwing up again. It was literally horrible. I was spewing for 5 days straight, so I lost over a stone in weight, which was brilliant, but obviously not ideal at the time because I was constantly throwing up. I literally, no matter what I was doing, I just couldn't keep anything down. So then we were worried that I might have an infection, because the first week you're supposed to stay out of like contact with other people because you're like prone to getting infections. And I did actually have like people coming around to like see me and stuff. I wasn't going out, so we were worried that I might have an infection. So after I'd been spewing up for like 5 days straight, we went to the doctors and they turned around and basically said it could just be, you know, your antibiotics. Well, we went to the doctors, and now I don't know why they tell you to go to the doctors, because the doctor isn't an ear, nose and mouth specialist. They have no idea what it's supposed to look like. So my doctor was like, it could be your antibiotics, but it could be that you have a like infection. So he was like, so I'll give you medication for an infection just in case you have it, and we'll take it off the antibiotics that you're already taking. So I did that and I was taking them, and I still honestly felt like crap, but I was starting to eat a little bit more. So it started to get a little bit better from day 10. So day 1 to 4, absolutely fine. 4 to 10, worst days of my life, literally wanted to die. Like, I felt like I was dying. Bonfire night was the worst night of my life. I was literally in the car, I literally just felt like I literally thought I was dying. Like, I obviously knew I wasn't dying, but like, I felt like this is what it felt like to be dying, if that makes sense. Like, as much as I would know, like, you know, like, when you're just like really ill, like, I just felt horrible. I was getting really hot, I was getting really cold, I was sweating, like, it was just horrible. And I also got a lot of ear pain during these days as well, which is completely normal, but I was just then crying about my ear pain. I was honestly being such a wuss during these, like, this period. Then from day 10, so 11, 12, 13 and 14, I sort of started to feel like myself again. My energy had sort of like come back. So I definitely think days 4 to 10 are probably the worst. Obviously it depends on your circumstance. You might not be throwing up like I was constantly, because that was just killing my throat as well. Like, I was just, obviously when you're throwing up, you're straining your throat. And I'd just been through an operation and I'm there straining my throat. So yeah, that wasn't nice, but definitely the recovery was horrible. It will probably be the worst 2 weeks of your life, but hands down, probably is worth it, because I'm never going to have tonsillitis ever again. Like, 2 weeks of this for a lifetime of never having tonsillitis again. You know, weigh up your pros and cons, but yeah, definitely days 4 to 10 were definitely my worst. Okay, so now I'm just going to answer like some other questions and just like, I'm just going to go through the questions basically, just in case I haven't missed anything, because I'm such a rambler and I just go off on different things and I end up talking about something else when I should be talking about this. Somebody asked, is there a massive difference / feeling now that your tonsils are removed? And honestly, no. The only thing that I've noticed I can do that's different is I can like eat bigger like portions. Like, I know this is really weird, but like, I don't have to chew as much, like, for it to go down. Like, I just sort of chew and it just like goes down because there's room for it to go down. I can also down water a lot quicker, and I also obviously just don't have 2 massive balls at the back of my throat. So yeah, no, you can't really feel any difference. Sometimes it does change your voice. I don't feel like it's changed my voice. So yeah, no, it's not really that much different. I can't feel like there's anything different. Somebody asked, how would you describe the pain? So for the first few days, I would literally have just described it just like tonsillitis. It was literally just like having tonsillitis. So a really sore throat for those of you that have never had tonsillitis. And then it got to, I think it was from like day 10, it started to turn into more like a stinging pain. I don't know if anybody else felt this, but it was like, obviously, this was the point where my scabs were like falling off. So it was sort of like an open wound. And when obviously I was drinking or eating, it was like washing an open wound. It was like washing an open wound. So to me, it was sort of like a stinging pain, and it like, I don't know, the pain hit differently later on than it did at the beginning. Because at the beginning, it was just like an ache, it was just like a sore throat. And at the end, it was just like, it was like a cut. So that is how I would explain the pain. Somebody asked about my jaw, and obviously going back to somebody asked how my jaw felt after the operation, because if you didn't know, they obviously like clamp your jaw open, and just like my tongue and my lips, it was very sore. It just sort of obviously felt like it'd been like punched, really, because obviously it'd been held in a position for so long. But I don't think it was the most excruciating pain. It was just sort of like a little ache. Maybe sort of just felt like a bit like toothache, really. So yeah, no, it was bearable, and it sort of went within like 2 days. Somebody asked, how long couldn't you eat properly for after? So like I mentioned, the first 4 days I was fine, so I was just eating my normal foods, and then it was from about day 5 I literally just couldn't keep anything down. No matter what I tried to eat, like, I just couldn't do it. And the swallowing was just so painful, because it was sort of like I was pulling a muscle. And then as well, when it started to sting, it was just really painful. So it was really hard to eat, and I found that like liquidy things was obviously a lot easier. Somebody asked, how long was the full recovery? Like, when did I actually feel better? Like, my throat didn't hurt anymore. And I would definitely say like a month and a half later. Not gonna lie, I did kind of slow down the process, and I did go out earlier than I should have, which I don't advise doing. But I can't remember why I went out. Oh, it was my friend's birthday, so I went out, and yeah, so that probably messed up with my throat a little bit more. But not only that, but my immune system is just not very good anyway. Like, it always takes me a little while to get better from being ill. But yeah, no, it didn't take too long. And once the actual scabbing and the throat pain had gone, it was sort of fine. It was just like my throat was still like sore. You could, just by looking at it, you could see it was sore. And then I'd wake up on a morning with a sore throat, but then by the end of the day, it had sort of like gone. So many people have asked, was it worth it? I personally do think it was worth it. Like I mentioned before, 2 weeks of pain for a lifetime. I've never had tonsillitis ever again. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Like, I'm literally not going to remember the day within like a few years, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can remember it now, and like whilst I was going through it, it was the worst 2 weeks of my life. But like now, I'm like, was it really that bad? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just don't remember it as well as you did obviously when you're going through it. So I definitely do think it was worth it. Somebody asked what were my main concerns about the surgery. My main concern really was just the needle, because I don't like needles, like I mentioned. And other than that, I would just say my voice changing. I was really scared that I was going to come out of the operation and just sound completely different. But I didn't. I came out of the operation and I sounded completely normal. I sounded just like myself. So yeah, no, all my concerns were absolutely fine. Somebody asked, can you still get a sore throat? Yes, you can still get a sore throat, because at the end of the day, bacteria and things like that is always going to hit the back of your throat. I'm yet to actually have like a proper sore throat since having my tonsils removed. So when that happens, I will keep you guys up to date over on my Instagram or something. Somebody asked, how come it took you so long to recover? And that would be down to the fact that I was throwing up for 5 days straight, and I obviously strained my throat. I literally just wasn't eating. My energy was really low. And yeah, that is basically it really. And then when I did go out 2 weeks after, I obviously just kicked my immune system into shithole again, and so it basically had to restart. Somebody asked how long approximately is the operation. So when I was referred to the doctors, they said it'd be about 30 minutes. However, I was in there about an hour, so I guess it just depends on like the circumstance of the operation, how things go in the operation, like if something goes wrong or whatever, maybe how big your tonsils are, if there's a lot of bleeding. So yeah, so mine took like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour I think they said. So I think it just depends on the person really. Somebody asked how long was it before you could eat. So when I came out of the operation, I think I had to sleep for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then I woke up and I was feeling hungry, so I was like, yo, can I have some food? And then I started eating, and like, honestly, my best advice would be eat as much as you can on the first few days, because they're the days where you really don't feel the pain as much as you do like later on. So just try and eat like as regularly as you can and eat as normally as you can for them days, because you will honestly appreciate it later on. So I think I've pretty much covered all the questions and everything for this video. If you do have a question that I haven't answered, please leave it down below and I will try and reply to it as soon as possible and help you guys out, because I know there'll be a lot of you guys who are absolutely crapping yourself for this operation, but honestly, it's not to worry. It's honestly, it'll be over as soon as you know it, and it is honestly worth it. But yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck if you are having it done. And that is everything for today's video. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this. Please, as always, remember to give it a huge thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you very, very soon with another video. Bye!